All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today we're taking a really deep dive into a fascinating analytical study by Dr. Moatez Salah al-Din. He's looking at the reformist discourse of Arab thinker Ali Mohammed Al-Shurafa Al-Hammadi. And honestly, what we're looking at here isn't just dry academic theory. It's about completely reframing how we even understand the concept of peace. We're talking about shifting peace from just a passive, feel-good emotion, or, a political buzzword, into a highly practical, divine methodology, a methodology explicitly designed to structure society and actually pull humanity out of these endless cycles of violence.
So that brings us to a pretty huge fundamental question. Is peace merely the absence of war? I mean, look around at the world right now. When we see the current geopolitical crises, the escalating armed conflicts, and specifically the deep identity struggles within the Muslim world today, we really have to hit pause. Is our basic understanding of peace just incomplete? Have we been setting the bar way too low by just aiming for a ceasefire and patting ourselves on the back, calling that peace?
To break all this down, we've got 5 main themes to cover. 1. Moving from a slogan to a lifestyle. 2. The comprehensive Quranic vision of peace. 3. The 3 pillars of society building. 4. Diagnosing the Islamic world's crisis. And 5. A civilizational project saving humanity. We're going to take this step by step, starting from the inner soul of the individual and expanding all the way out to a global scale.
Okay, section 1. From a slogan to a lifestyle. This is really about shifting our mindset to see peace as an active, daily practice rather than just some nice-sounding rhetoric.
You know the timing of Al-Hammadi's original discourse? Absolutely not an accident. It was actually delivered during a seminar in Cairo, right in the middle of the holy month of Ramadan, which of course is the very month the Quran was revealed. This is hugely symbolic. It powerfully reinforces this organic, undeniable link between divine revelation and the actual boots-on-the-ground establishment of human peace. They are completely intertwined.
And that ties perfectly into the central argument of the whole discourse, which is anchored by this verse. O you who believe, enter into peace completely. The operative word here is completely. Entering into peace isn't presented as a casual suggestion. It's a holistic, divine command that covers every single dimension of human existence. You can't be peaceful in public but ruthless in your private life or your business dealings, right? It requires total immersion.
Moving right along to section 2, the comprehensive Quranic vision of peace. This phase fundamentally redefines what the word peace even means in our modern vocabulary.
Think about it. Most of the time when we hear peace, we just think of conventional peace, a ceasefire. Actually, scratch that. We really just think of the temporary absence of armed conflict. But the study contrasts that incredibly limited view with a much deeper methodology. Quranic peace is an integrated value system. It's a full spectrum that starts deep within the inner soul of the individual and just radiates outward. It covers all socioeconomic, political, and community relations. It gives peace a real philosophical and ethical weight that a simple ceasefire completely misses.
And here's the kicker. True societal stability is just impossible without this inner peace. The verse says, "He has succeeded who purifies it, and he has failed who corrupts it." The discourse makes the case that purifying the human soul is step 1. It's the absolute baseline requirement in this divine methodology. Because, let's face it, if individuals are corrupt on the inside, the society they build will be corrupt, no matter how many shiny peace treaties they sign.
Let's look at section 3, the 3 pillars of society building. How do we take that inner peace and actually build a society with it? Well, the study identifies 3 non-negotiable pillars.
Pillar number 1 is justice, or al-adl. The principle is, indeed, Allah commands justice and excellence. We aren't just talking about strict religious dogma here. The discourse presents justice as the universal ethical bedrock for literally any prosperous community. Without justice, stability is a pipe dream. It is the core foundation that every single other thing rests on.
Pillar number 2 is responsible freedom. This is anchored by that very famous principle, there shall be no compulsion in religion. This is massive because it ensures that genuine faith and active participation in society are born entirely from free will, not coercion. It's about having the liberty to think and believe for yourself, but pairing that freedom with a deep responsibility toward the well-being of the broader community.
And the third pillar is the fulfillment of covenants. O you who believe, fulfill your contracts. Basically, this boils down to trust. Whether we're talking about social, political, or economic relationships, honoring your mutual agreements is a total prerequisite for development. You simply cannot build a thriving economy or a functional political system if people and institutions don't keep their word. It just doesn't work.
All right, Section 4, Diagnosing the Islamic World's Crisis. It is time for a reality check. The study doesn't just sit around in the realm of theory. It offers a really critical diagnosis of why the Islamic world is currently dealing with such compounding crises.
The analysis pinpoints three major root causes here. First, a deviation away from the primary Quranic reference, substituting it with various human interpretations over the centuries. Second, that deviation has directly led to sectarian pluralism, multiple groups claiming the banner of Islam but constantly fighting among themselves, which fractures the collective identity. And third, the rise of this really superficial, formal religiosity that has almost entirely replaced genuine adherence to core values.
And that leads to a really tough but completely necessary question challenging this formal religiosity. How can societies expect divine relief while failing to adhere to principles of justice and compassion? It's a staggering disconnect. The study asks, how can a society pray for victory or relief from a crisis while simultaneously ignoring the actual divine methodology of mercy, justice, and human dignity in the way they behave every day?
Finally, we reach Section 5, a civilizational project, saving humanity. This takes everything we've talked about and shows the tangible, real-world impact of actually adopting this methodology on a global scale.
The study lays out a really stark, undeniable reality about resources. When societies get trapped in armed sectarian conflicts, it's like a black hole. They completely drain their wealth and their human capital. But societies that actually implement comprehensive peace, they're able to redirect those exact same resources into education, healthcare, and productive institutions. Literally, it is the difference between funding your own destruction and building robust systems that elevate human life.
Which brings us to the ultimate worldview of this whole discourse. Say, O Allah, owner of sovereignty, you give sovereignty to whom you will. Al-Hammadi's discourse frames power and authority as a heavy moral responsibility and a test for humanity, rather than just an end goal to achieve. This elevates the whole Quranic vision of peace into a universal humanitarian project. It's explicitly designed to save humanity from endless violence, reminding leaders everywhere that authority is a trust to serve people, absolutely not a right to oppress them.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. A provocative question. How will you apply this divine methodology in your own life to build a foundation of true peace? We've seen today that peace isn't just some political state negotiated by leaders in suits. It's a personal responsibility. Think about how you can personally step away from those superficial slogans. How can you start actively applying these pillars, justice, responsible freedom, and fulfilling your covenants in your family, your daily routine, and your workplace? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Let's get to work on taking peace from a slogan and making it our lifestyle.
مؤسسة رسالة السلام العالمية، رسالة إنسانية لعالم أكثر سلاماً.